should keep it cool, babe. Not lose my swag and play the fool, babe. Just play the game and hold on, maybe. But I'm done with the waiting, done with the waiting. I'm done with playing nice. Now look me in the eyes. Tell me, tell me, tell me what you see inside. Not gonna ask you twice. Not looking for your lies. Tell me, do you wanna go? Do you wanna go? Do you wanna go? Do you wanna go? Those who wanna play by the rules end up last with nothing to obtain. So let's level up to remain. 'Cause I'm done with the waiting, done with the waiting. I'm done with playing nice. Now look me in the eyes. Tell me, tell me, tell me what you see inside. Not gonna ask you twice. Not looking for your lies. Tell me, do you wanna go? 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 I'm riding away tonight. Gonna try it while the world's bright. Got room for one if that's alright. That's alright. Do you wanna go? 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 Do you wanna go?
Hello everyone, happy Sunday. Hope you're all doing well. Tomorrow is Monday, better get the coffee ready. Oh, FYI, so in the previous podcast, I had said that the intro song wasn't available on iTunes. I didn't know that actually is available on iTunes. And actually, I don't know when they started putting their music up on iTunes to download, but most of the Epidemic Sound songs, which is where I got this song from, are actually available on iTunes. So pretty much all the songs in my intros you can actually download. And I will put the link in the chat. Ooh, sorry about the background noise. I'll put the link in the chat now. So that is the song in the chat, and if you wanted to go and download it on iTunes, you can. But hello to everyone. Don't forget to thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Lydia, you're going to save your lemonade for another day. You're going to cook and then watch on replay. Okay, Lydia, thank you. Hi, everyone also joining the chat. Hi, Lynn, Joyce, Rose, hello. Hi, Rochelle, Emerald, Joan, hello. Sistren, you've been busy at work, so you were MIA. This coming week will be a blur for me. Honey, every week is a blur for me. I can't believe it's been almost over a year or so now. I've been doing this podcast consistently almost every day. That's wild. I think I have 270 videos. That is absolutely wild. That's 270 receipts. So we're basically building a time capsule here. We will be in a future episode of The Crown. Um, Annie Bullard's God is the song "I Am Woman" by Emmy Melly. You can listen to it on YouTube. Yes, and that's the song that Megan used for the Archetypes podcast. Welcome, welcome everyone. Hi Wendy, Gwendolyn. Hi Cynthia. Hello, Kim Hamilton. Hi Brenda. Uh, Sharon, the Amber Ruffin video that's on Twitter. Okay, I haven't seen. I don't know what that is good. She and Dr. Shola would be perfect for Megan's podcast on racism. She nailed it on the head. And I've seen it 3 times. You should check it out. Okay, I haven't seen that, but I will check it out. Thank you for mentioning it. You know, I'm on Twitter for most of the day, but sometimes I do miss things. Alrighty then, let's get started. A couple of side stories before we get onto the main ones because, oof, what's the catchphrase on this podcast? The delusion. The delusion is real. But first of all, with some nice things, more billboards of Megan popping up in different places, and archetypes. Can you imagine how weird it would be to see your face on a billboard? I mean, I guess for Megan, she was an actress, so that's, I guess, something that you dream of at some point in your career. But I feel like I would still find it weird to see my face on a huge billboard like this. But how cool! Apparently, the tank top that she's wearing, it might be J Crew, and yeah, #1 in several countries and top 10 in several more. And what I love about this is look at how many countries where English is not the native language. Got 27 in Indonesia, in Chile, Brazil, Argentina, all in the 20s there. And then got Mexico, Germany, 16, Spain, number 15, Poland, 15, Sweden, number 11, um, Finland, 8, Netherlands, 6th, Philippines, 5th. I mean, like, wow. Philippines, wow. And so just the reach, and at the end of the day, it shouldn't be too surprising because what Megan is talking about in this podcast is something that goes across borders. It's something that all women at some point in their life feel, experience, and that we all have to navigate. So this is not something that's specific to a race or a particular border because it's our lived experience as women. So to see it going so global like this, is wonderful. Um, but the way in which Megan is able to connect with people and has shown over and over again, in the way that she can connect with people, especially on tours from different countries and different backgrounds, um, in a way, it just shouldn't be too surprising. Because aside also from the subject matter, just the whole production and the way it was recorded is magnificent. And these memes have been going around of people photoshopping the archetypes cover all over the place on billboards, on magazines with the queen holding it. Hilarious. And yeah, just more examples of where it was top 10. You tell me, which country are you most surprised to see it doing so well in? I mean, Megan has essentially gone on tour around the entire world with this podcast without stepping out the house. But you'll be lucky if the actual royals do a tour. I mean, what do they do a tour like once or twice a year? She's toured the whole globe from her house on a podcast, and the getting this type of reach and getting this type of reach using mediums like podcasts and social media, I think that's something that was so natural to Megan because of her background. I think it's something that she tried to incorporate more into her life as a royal when she was working royal, but the institution would not allow it because they're just so backwards. And so uh, I think now they're going to be looking at this and going, yeah, we fumbled the bag big time. Let's get through your comments before we continue. Hello, 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 if you're just joining us. Sharon, has anyone noticed I went back and looked at the old videos 24 hours after Meghan and Harry came back from the Africa tour with the incident with Archie and the smoke they left for Canada? Strange. Yeah, this is something that um a couple of people have brought up. I'm actually wondering if there's a lot more that happened than just that incident with the smoke and the fire, because that incident alone is very suspicious. More suspicious that they left, you're right, almost 24 hours after, and that I think must have been the breaking point, the omen, um, coincidence or conspiracy, you decide, that made them go, "We've had enough." I do think that there is a lot more to that than what I think we know. And I was very afraid of them to going to South Africa, just because I feel like not because I felt they were in danger because they were in South Africa. Um, Not that there's anything about South Africa specifically. I felt that they would have been harmed, but say the institution wanted to harm them, it would have been very easy of them to create a negative narrative because they were in South Africa, because of I think the one-sided um, narrative that the Western media paints of Africa as a country and of Africa as a continent and South Africa as a country, if that makes sense. Um, Marina 21 shows that she's loved and that she's talking about resonates. Yes, indeed. Uh, Gail Lewis is basically half the population of the world's experience in some form or another. No wonder it's making an impact. It's simply time, yes. Especially at a time when you've got broadcasters like Andrew Tate running around. Like, this is exactly what we needed. Andreen, Megan is slowly telling what happened. You have to listen every time she talks, from not being protected, covered lies, and now fire incident. Yeah, it's really building a very horrid picture. Something worse than what we, I think most of us already knew, but it's even worse than what we thought. Rachel, Australian media has a 24-hour hate campaign against her. Yeah, well, of course they would, because when Harry and Meghan went to Australia, it was the same thing, history repeating itself when Diana went to Australia. They were just so popular. So I'm sure that they've got that hate campaign running 24/7 for sure. But Harry and Meghan being there proved that they were popular there. Gail Lewis. Yes, Sharon, I've been thinking the same thing. I knew something huge would happen as they left so quickly. I think the fire was the last straw, not the first. Yes, I am so sure that there were probably other things that happened. And, like I said, if something had happened to Meghan or Archie or Harry while on the continent of Africa, it would have been so easy of them to paint the narrative of, oh, well, these things, they just happen in Africa because, bad security and this, that, and the third. It would have been the perfect cover for the firm, even though it would have been them responsible. Meaningful life coaching said, I'm not surprised because it relates to so many people in so many cultures. It's not only about black and white or rich or poor, it encompasses so many stereotypes. Yes. Emerald, Australia surprises you. Well, Harry and Meghan were very popular in Australia. The hate campaign is only as strong as it is in Australia because Rupert Murdoch controls the media. That's why. Otherwise, I think the general view of Harry and Meghan in Australia was very popular when they went. Um, I haven't had the time to get her on yet, but I do have a friend who's Australian, and she's actually coming back to the UK later on this year, so I will try and get her on. Um, and she just says to me she doesn't believe anything that they say about Meghan in the media. She's just confused as to why they keep talking about her so negatively. And I've had to explain to her it's because Rupert Murdoch controls the press, in Australia, the same way he controls the press in the UK. And there's a contract between um the press and the royals to destroy whoever it is that they want to destroy. Sash, do you know what became of Willie Leaks and Mumble's YouTube channel? No one talks about it. Legend has it's still alive, but historians aren't sure. It's still there, but it just never really took off the way they wanted it to. So what's the point of them posting about it? Because there's, for example, Royal Family Channel, I think it's called, they get more views than the Cambridges themselves. So what's the point? But I do feel that we will eventually hear more about that period, possibly in Harry's book, between them finishing the tour and then going straight to Canada, that 24-48 hour period, because a lot must have happened in that time, in that short time, for them to just decide, no, we're going back. Um, yeah, sorry, we're going back to Canada. Or it could be that they had always planned it that way, and it was just easier for them to do that, perhaps if they were in a different country. I don't know. I guess we'll find out someday. Um, Ginger, and if you look at the interview that Megan gave during the tour, she looked like a broken person. Yeah, almost every interview you can see that she's really straining to smile. Um, yeah, it's just there's so many things I feel like if you go back and look and listen now, you'll see them with a completely different pair of eyes. Anne Lewis, it's possible there may have been another attempt. Their friends got them out of that firm. I believe something was afoot and they had to leave then. One nanny sacked in 24 hours of Archie's birth. Yes, absolutely. Just too many strange and weird things. I mean, it's almost a wonder, really, that given all of this, that Harry went back to Philip's funeral, that they went to the Jubilee. And I wonder if that was more about just standing up to their haters, but then it does beg the question: are Harry and Meghan possibly putting themselves at risk by going back? I don't know. Alrighty, on to the next thing. Yeah, the Daily Fell, at least for a moment, seems to be admitting defeat. um, with this tweet, but the trolls that work for the Mail will never stop their trolling. And here are the trolls right here: Angela Levin, Sarah Niggling, Feeling, Vine, and Jan Moore. I mean, these are the people that hate Meghan. The faces of hate. And let's look at all the faces of hate, actually. I mean, any similarities between them? Yeah, this is what evil does to you over time. It does the same thing to you as stress. Gail, Bloody Murdoch here in New Zealand is creating such disrespect from the hosts of news shows against Meghan is sickening. Yeah, I mean, all of this attack on one person, even the people that don't like Meghan, and I still don't know what they don't like her for. But at a certain point, you've got to ask yourself, why do they keep talking about this one woman when there's so many other things going on in the world? Like, why is she the headline story? You'd expect her to be a headline story on a platform like this where we're fans, but in the mainstream media with so many other things going on, why continue to make her a headline story and only to attack her? Audrey, I would like to know what Willie Leaks did or said to Megan. Yes, I still believe that William specifically did something to her or said something to her. I feel like we're yet to find out what that would be. Anne Lewis, the Australian tour when Megan was pregnant and they were sent to countries that had the Zika virus when they were told to avoid. The child was always in danger, yes. And I'll never forget also when they were in Fiji, there was that security breach while in a market with several people. Just terrifying. And I will not forget also, there was one particular engagement where Harry just had the face of thunder. He wasn't even concentrating on the ceremony. It was like his eyes were just scanning the crowd like sniper eyes. And so I believe that there was also something else that happened on that Fiji tour because half of the time, and not out of disrespect, but I just think out of worry, Harry looked like he wasn't really paying attention to um y- the people that he was meeting with because it was like he was just always looking around the room like there was some imminent danger or threat, and that also tells you something because that's not how Harry is usually like. He's always very attentive, um always very, yeah, attentive to the person that he's talking to, and very, respectful of whoever it is he's meeting, and very engaging. So to see him like that tells you that there was something wrong, something very wrong. And yes, Terry, Megan's dog's legs being broken. That was also very weird. Elsa, Harry's book might come out on his birthday. Yeah, maybe it will. I would say either on his birthday or just before just before Christmas, just to maximize on the Christmas buying time. Um, okay, Camilla Tominey finally came out of her cage for some air. Um, Listen, the seasons will change, but one thing that won't change is that Camilla Tominey will always be a liar. And here she is with her her latest headline: "The more Meghan Markle speaks, the less anyone wants to listen." Will you listen to Camilla? You clearly did listen, because you're not going to write an article on a whole podcast if you didn't even listen to it to make comment on it. Um, yeah, Camilla saying that her podcast epitomizing the law of diminishing returns. The podcast that got to the top and knocked Joe Rogan off the Spotify charts. And mind you, Joe Rogan, let's also consider that he has been around for a long time, a very, very long time, has a very established audience. So let's not underestimate how big it is that Megan knocked him off the top of the Spotify charts. And Camilla Tominey, you can continue with your lying. We've got receipts and we've got pictures of you with the nonce prints. Andreen, they wanted their plan to happen in Africa. If anyone noticed, Africa has been mentioned in the past 2 years. A lot from William's map. Yes, exactly, exactly. And that is the point that I was trying to make. That if it happened in an African country, it would have been the perfect cover for them because it would just be so easy to spit to spin to spin a narrative, and we know what that narrative would have been. Dana, the mere idea the nanny had the intuition to take the baby off with her is telling. Yes, the baby could have been kidnapped on African soil as means to harm Harry and Meghan. He remains a seed, um, who is the future grandchild. Yes, but Archie would never even. No, Archie would never be king. But they're just so vile and evil, these people, that they would still want to get rid of him. Andrea, all I can say is that the original Sausage Squad podcast got it right from day one. Yes. And I remember back when Tina and Michelle would say they're trying to kill Megan, trying to harm her baby. People in the squad would get so in their emotions about it. Like they used to get so mad at Tina about this. But she was right. She was absolutely right. And so I hope people can reflect on that and just realize that, you know what? Tina and Michelle saw what I think a lot of people couldn't see or didn't want to see at the time. And I'm glad they stood by what they said because they've been proven right. Girl Lewis, the world is catching on to the faces of hate, better not show their ugliness. Emerald, they are ugly, yes. They are indeed ugly. Lynn, Australian people just voted out the Conservative Prime Minister who was aligned with Murdoch. That is true. They have a new PM who vowed to get rid of Murdoch and his toxic paper. The public agreed and voted for him. Well, there you go. So it just shows you that the Australian public have uh, they understand what time it is and it's time for change. Reba, I would hate to if that was my face. uh, Alrighty. Um, but yes, um, there has been some people who have, sorry, from South Africa, who have unfortunately, I think, taken what Megan has said the wrong way. I don't believe that it's a lot of people. I also believe that some of it is just troll activity. But Voet Sec Megan started trending. Um, and this is a trend that supposedly came from some South Africans on Twitter. Um, I don't know why or how what she said was misinterpreted. I didn't think that she was saying anything negative about South Africa specifically. I just think that people are hearing what they want to hear because they just don't like her. And it's unfortunate that there is a small, and it is a small group of of people who have have tried to make it seem like she was saying something negative about South Africa. And I know that I have South Africans who listen to this podcast. I've had South Africans on this podcast, and in fact, there was one listener, Nelson, who was a Mel Squaddy, who spoke um, so well on the situation with Meghan and the royal family, and he said in his segment that the royal family did not understand the power that Meghan had, and I actually turned his small segment and what he said into its own video, and I'll actually just repost the link. If you haven't ever listened to it, go and listen to it. So it's unfortunate that the British press have now taken the few people who are making noise and turned that into lots of articles trying to paint a narrative that South Africa hates Meghan, um, and that she's offended the whole country, which is just not true. And as Fika said on Twitter, honestly, I don't see anything wrong with what Meghan said in that interview. Britain is trying to involve us in hating her. You'll understand that she was just a concerned mother. Now I understand why we are easily colonized. Yes. And it's just unfortunate to see people from South Africa, and again, a very small group, almost siding with uh, the institution in a way by lashing out at Meghan like this. And somebody else saying people are all ignoring the fact that Archie could have been harmed in that room. He was supposed to be in a safe place in the UK embassy. So why wasn't there all the equipment and checked before the visit? If hotels are checked before guests come in, why wasn't this done? Yes. And she was, making a point about the particular place that they were in, which was the UK embassy. So she didn't say anything negative about South Africa at all, but they're trying to spin it and make it look like she did. Sister and the water buffalo is the last person who should be commenting on someone's look. Which one is the water buffalo, though? Can you please be more specific? Mercy, yes, I really do not think they should go back to the UK. It's too dangerous. I get worried, but they've Harry's been back, and then Meghan's also been back with him with Lily. So I believe that they have enough protection at least. Um, Terry, yes, you're right, and even people who don't care or pay attention to anything royal notice something is wrong to keep attacking one woman who happens to be a woman of color. Yes. Gail, Meghan's face in South Africa interview was stricken. Never seen her look like that before or since. Now we know why. Yes, that is true. I have not seen Meghan look like that since. Quite scary. And of course, the South African tour, aside from the fact that it ended not very well, the whole tour was a success. They connected with the locals. It got lots of positive press, and you had wonderful moments like this. A duchess bowing to a little black girl and asking her what her dreams are. These beautiful, authentic moments with people looking genuinely happy, not like they're being, forced to be there. People are genuinely happy to see Meghan, especially. So I think a lot of the bot activity and troll activity is also them um, trying to put a stain on this tour that was such a success, and they've seen an opportunity um, with with Megan's podcast and trying to spin her words into something that they just were not. Oh, I think my mic went out for a second. Sorry, Valerie said our prayers saved that couple, and that is why they were so mad. I would go out on a limb. They contacted wizards. Well, we've just done our best, and that is all we can do to try and push back and keep receipts. Anne Lewis, yes, the danger was after they visit the university, not the market. The security, Harry's motorcade left with him, but Meghan was left waiting for hours without any protection. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Hmm. Lynn, I believe it would be very suspicious of the British attempt to harm Harry and Meghan right now. Yes, and I think this is why they have made such a big deal out of security. A, because well, they are entitled to security. But I think the more Harry makes a big deal out of the security situation and pushes back, I think the more it's going to make people suspicious, and that's a good thing. C-Mac, remember how they gloated when Pearl got cancelled? Exactly. And technically speaking, um it's only cancelled by Netflix, but they can take the production elsewhere and shop it around. And I'm pretty sure Netflix is now pulling its hair out. All right. The next thing that I wanted to mention, right, this. Oi, where do I even begin with this? So Prince Charles is going to guest edit The Voice, which is Britain's most prominent, most successful, and I think it's actually now Britain's only standing black newspaper. And before I say anything, I'd just like to remind us that royals aren't meant to do what?
Royals don't guest edit magazines. Celebrities guest edit magazines. Do you get me? Royals don't guest edit magazines. Celebrities guest edit magazines. Do you get me?
Except for when you're Charles or Camilla or any of the other royals. If you're the biracial Duchess, you can't do it. But everybody else can do it, and nobody says anything, and it's perfectly okay. I mean, what do I say to this? I think you know what I'm gonna say. They have been trying so hard to prove that they are not racist in any way since the Oprah interview. This place to get edit, this is celebrating what, 40 years, celebrating 4 decades. Could have gone to any prominent black celebrity, personality, activist, and they give it to Prince Charles. What do I even say to that? What do I even say? And there was someone who, give me a sec, this gentleman here who said, this is Michael Morgan. He said, seeing Prince Charles' fat fingers on a newspaper that gave me my start and allowed me to grow as a writer, it's left me feeling disappointed. When I wrote for The Voice, it stood against personifications of oppression and suppression. I guess a lot has changed since then. Well, as Facts and Two Cents pointed out, there are 3 guarantees in life: death, taxes, and the royal family using influential black people that they bought with MBE, OBE, and CBE honors, trinkets I call them, to make people think that they are not racist. The editor of The Voice is Paulette Simpson, CBE. And Idris Elba is also helping with this edit, and he is an OBE. So this is just very disappointing. Doing all of this PR when you can't apologize to the only person of color who was in your family, and all the hell that you put her through. And now you're trying to make people forget about that by aligning yourself with a black newspaper. Mind you, the most loyal royalists do not like the idea of diversity, do not like the idea of inclusion. So their own audience, who are the most loyal to them, aren't going to like this. And I honestly don't think that black people or people of color are going to like this either. I really haven't seen any comments online from anyone, certainly not anyone who's black, saying, I can't wait to read this that was edited by Prince Charles. And in the actual statement, Charles said, over the last 4 decades, with all the enormous changes that they have witnessed, Britain's only surviving black newspaper has become an institution and a crucial part of the fabric of our society. This is why I was so touched to be invited to edit this special edition. Lester Holloway, editor-in-chief, said, our readers may be surprised at the parallels between the issues which the Voice has campaigned for decades and the work that the Prince of Wales has been involved with over the same period. Often behind the scenes. Yeah, behind the scenes. Never publicly, never loudly, always behind the scenes. In past decades, these causes were once scorned and ridiculed, but today they are widely acknowledged. Yet all the research tells us how far we have got to go to be a truly equal society. The Prince has an awareness of this, and that in itself is the reason to be hopeful. All right, I'm just going to go back to what she said about Prince Charles has been involved in this, often behind the scenes. So supposedly Charles has been involved in racial equality behind the scenes, But when somebody in his family is accused of racism, he very loudly uses black people as props to try to make him look good. So we don't do the actual activism loudly, but when it comes to making ourselves look better, we're happy to use black people as props. And let's not forget that Buckingham Palace actually once banned ethnic minorities from office roles. And there are actually laws that exempt the palace from any type of discrimination case um, if somebody tries to file a discrimination case based on race or sex. So there are very obvious problems in their own institution, and the most obvious and the most recent of those problems is how they treated um, Meghan, a biracial woman. Oh, we are truly in hell. Lilybell, the same way Diana conveniently died in Paris, it would be the same they wanted for the baby. That way, it didn't happen in the UK, and they can blame somebody else. And I also think, actually, not only would they not want it to happen in the UK, I think they would not want it to happen in Europe. Period. Because there were so many questions raised at the French. Marina, I hope Nelson could come back again. I hope he does as well. And I'm so glad that I had that receipt of a South African squaddy speaking all the truths. You know, this is why it's so important that we create our own content and we create our own communities. Because I actually have I have a video and audio of somebody from South Africa speaking from their perspective that I can post at a time like this when they come with their propaganda. Rochelle, wasn't the original tweet from South Africa from a woman located in the UK? That would not surprise me. But unfortunately, I did see, and again, it was very small group of people, nothing and no one significant. Um, a couple of people from South Africa, including one journalist actually, that got retweeted quite a lot. Unfortunately, bashing Meghan. But you're always going to have the few. It doesn't represent the greater majority. Oh, Sisterin, when you said buffaloes, you were referring to the no neck. Ceravine? That's very offensive to buffaloes, Sisterin. It's very offensive to buffaloes. Lynn, I believe Tina. I was always curious why they sent her on such a hard tour. Yes, especially when she was pregnant. Crazy. Yeah, Claudia, Tina, and Michelle were right. They've been right about almost everything. Meaningful life. I'm still very unsettled about who took that long lens photo of them with the children at the doubly. That is serious right there, because it could have been a gun. I probably think this is my theory that there was someone in the palace who promised someone at the Daily Fail, listen, we will get you that one or two pictures of Harry and Meghan at the Jubilee. Because let's be honest, those pictures, as grainy as they were on that long lens, that was the money shot, not the main picture of the royal balcony. The money shot, the golden balcony, was wherever Harry and Meghan was. So I believe that whoever took that picture, it was a tip off and a trade off between the palace and the press. Because let's not forget, at the end of the day, the press want and need to make their money. So I don't know. For me, anyway, the long lens wasn't a huge security I don't see that as like a breach of security. Just because I think it was someone in the palace that tipped them off so that they could get their money shot. All right. Some other things that are going on. More Charles Cash for Honor scandal. So this is a new one. There is a gentleman who is saying that some of his donation money was stolen. So there was an ex-banker who gave 200 200,000 of a 500,000 that he gave to Charles went missing, and that he donated to Charles's Dumfries House project in 2022. And it was rejected. But he only returned part of the money. So the question now is, where is the money, and why are we only hearing about this now? And it also just raises more suspicions about Charles and the royal family's money situation. I just don't understand why these people are always scampering for money. Why? Alan, thank you so much for the super chat. I think they are so angry because they wanted Kate to be the next Princess Di, and it turned out to be Meg. Well, Diana was a woman who was not afraid to break the rules. You were never gonna get another Diana with a woman who was happy to just be a mannequin and, uh, you know, walk left when she's told to walk left, walk right when she's told to walk right, and do everything that people in that institution told her to do. How were they expecting to get another Diana? The very reason Diana was the Diana was because she was such a rebel. That's why. And because she was able to connect with people on an authentic level. And it's usually the rebel, the underdog, the fighter who's able to do that. Not the person who's happy to go along and do whatever it is that the institution is telling them to do. So what did they think, that just dressing Kate as Diana was gonna make her the next Diana? Her just wearing Diana's ring was gonna make her the next Diana? Because if that's what they thought, then they really don't understand why it was that Diana connected with people. Daniel, I don't know why people listen to Wooten. He does not know what he's talking about. He is that gossip monger who loves the drama, and some people just love the drama. That's why they like Wooten. Miss P talks, how can the voice allow this? I suppose they want notoriety. Now the black community is stooping to this. How awful. Yeah, and the mother of Stephen Lawrence was involved in this. I don't remember the royals saying anything about how the police handled the Stephen Lawrence case. I don't remember any royals saying anything about that. So it's a bit disappointing to see who's involved in this. Yeah, Valerie, look at the Windrush scandal. It's really, really shameful, and I think that the voice, unfortunately, might actually lose some readers and subscribers because of this. 40-year anniversary. I mean, they could end up being over at 41, because I think there's a lot of people who are going to be looking at this and feeling betrayed. Marilyn, the bigger question is, why is the paper allowing themselves to be used? Exactly. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't have actually just reached out to Megan. Um, or if why they wouldn't try to do so while Megan was still a working royal. Very strange. But I don't know. For all we know, maybe they've been paid. Alrighty. A couple of other things. There was this on the cover of the Sun today. Apparently, Beatrice pleading Charles to give her dad a job. This is the Sun, so um, obviously take these things with a pinch of salt. But I'm wondering who would leak this about Beatrice and why. Are they now trying to use Beatrice and Eugenie as a shield, as a distraction? It's just a very random headline. To see that something that Beatrice had said to be in capital letters on the cover of the Sun. Beatrice has been mostly in the background for the most part, more so than her sister. I'm also wondering if this is probably why Eugenie decided, you know what, let me get the hell out of here while I still can, just sneak away in the darkness of the night because they're gonna start, using me and possibly Beatrice as a shield and as a distraction. So yeah, it's a bit strange. I don't know why they would put a headline of something Beatrice had supposedly said on the cover. But that was the cover of the Sun. Dana, it's not even apologizing for we know that will never happen, but at least call or cut out the dogs. Yes, exactly. But at this point, I don't even know if the firm told the press to cut it out. I don't know if they would, because hating on Megan is $1 million industry. So I don't know if even if the firm said you have to step back, would the press step back? Because that's their bottom line that they're stepping back from. And so I think that ultimately the royals have created a monster because the more the UK press go after Harry and Meghan in particular, it's now making the royals look bad because this continues and they say nothing. They allow a family member to be harassed. Jessica, it is highly offensive for them to allow him to use them like that. And he was invited, seriously? Yeah, invited by who? Or probably the lady that owns it who's got the MBE. Cindy, Charles won't acknowledge his own two biracial grandchildren. Why should anyone let him edit their paper? Exactly. All right, that's pretty much all I had to say about uh the royals today. These people continue to get to live in their castles with their golden pianos. Meanwhile, this beauty was posted in the Sun. Sorry, not in the Sun, in the Times, and it was a guide. Omid retweeted it, which is how I saw it, or else I probably wouldn't have seen it. And it was a guide from the Times on how you can save £28 a week because the price of gas and everything just continues to go up. It's crazy here. So this is what they said on how us poor people can save some money. Going into the office to save on heating during the day. Mind you, a lot of people it's work from home now. 5 days a week saves around £23.85. I don't know how much that actually takes into account travel because the cost of travel is ridiculous. Like a single journey, I think now costs almost £5. When I was in Portugal, a single journey costs what, like €1 or something. So I don't even know if you'd save money um by going into the office just to keep warm, which in itself is sad if you have to do that because you'll probably spend the money on travel. And then they also say you should try to shower somewhere else 5 days a week, and that might save you 90p if you have a boiler. Where is this other place that you're meant to shower? Are they assuming that what everybody goes to the gym or everybody's workplace has a shower? Where am I meant to shower? And then it also says making 2 cups of tea in the office at work saves about 16p. Oh, a whole 16p. Not using your own electricity to blow dry for 15 minutes and straighten your hair for 5 minutes twice a week saves about 58p. So if I'm not using my own electricity to blow dry my hair or straighten my hair, whose electricity am I meant to be using? Am I meant to go into a cafe and blow dry my hair? Charging your devices in the office, and 2 hours for a laptop and 2 hours for an Apple Watch one day, 5 days a week will save 38p. Heating your lunch in an office microwave 5 days a week saves 27.5p. Like they're actually out here trying to convince you to save measly pennies instead of, and this is the Times newspaper. So the Times newspaper has more than enough power and readers, sorry, more than enough power to galvanize its readers to be able to start some kind of campaign to hold the government and energy companies accountable. Instead, they're basically turning around and saying, oh, look, poor people, this is what you can do to save 30p. Straighten your hair and blow dry your hair. Where exactly? Because it just says not choosing your own electricity. So am I meant to go and do that in a cafe? Like where am I meant to? Where's this other place that I'm meant to shower and dress up and do my hair? Yeah, this is what we're dealing with over here while they're screaming and yelling about Megan. Anyway, cost of living rant over, and I will just finish with your comments as usual, and we'll call it a day. Thank you so much, everyone. Right. Um, Andrea, some black people can be bought to an OBE, MBE, and all the other E's. Yeah, it's true. The A to Z's, the OBGYNs. Lakis, the paper should have reached out to the brilliant Diane Abbott, the first black female MP. Exactly. There's so many people. Or they should have reached out to 40 prominent black personalities in the country. That would have been a very interesting editorial. But no, they reach out to Charles and his chubby fingers. Joyce, Charles is not going to have Andrew near him when he is king. No, and maybe that's why they're kind of using Beatrice perhaps to put headlines like that out there, because I think, yeah, they know that Charles is not going to want Andrew anywhere near him because that's going to make his time as a king very difficult. Mercedes, Dan Wooten is literally a drama queen. Yeah, he is. He loves the drama. Meaningful. Too late to call off the dogs because that is admitting that you are doing what everyone was saying you were doing all along. Yes, they're just in too deep and they can't dig themselves out now. Patricia, is hate speech a crime in England? Yeah, technically it is. Annie, the more They hate on Harry and Meghan, the more powerful they become. Yeah. So powerful, we're number one in 10 different countries. Kenneth, the paper should have reached out to Trevor McDonald. I mean, there's so many people they could have reached out to, right? Like his Charles has been sued twice for, amongst other things, discrimination on the grounds of race by Elizabeth Bergese and Elaine Day, two PAs who worked in his offices. Exactly. And both of those cases were dismissed. And I can't imagine. Thank you for bringing that up, Lakis, because I'd even forgotten to mention that. Thank you very much. I can't imagine how those two women feel seeing this today. That Charles is guest editing The Voice magazine. Absolutely despicable. Bonnie, I don't think they wanted Kate to be popular like Diana until they felt that Meghan was overshadowing her. That is true. Marina, they allow a family member to be harassed and her son's almost arson hidden from the public. Yeah, because I mean, they will report on, Harry and Meghan breathing. So how did we not know about that incident? In Commonwealth, does a car wash allow you to have a shower asking for friends in England? Yeah, walk through a car wash. That's what they mean by showering somewhere else, or stand outside in the freezing cold when it's raining. Like I honestly feel like they're probably gonna get to that point where they're just like, "Oh, you're poor. You want to save money? Stand outside when it's raining to have a shower. Go to the lake, um, and take water from the lake." Gwendolyn, Charles Marissa, the unroyal family is hellbound. I think so. Novi D. Yes, all that advice that they're giving, somebody else still pays. I mean, I've noticed more recently, for example, when I go to a hair salon to get, my hair done, and I'm just like, "Oh, can I charge my phone, please?" And before that was never an issue, and now they're like, "Oh no, I'm gonna charge you £1," or they just don't let you charge at all. Like this is how crazy it's getting. Can't even charge a phone in a at the hair salon anymore. These girls be charging you £1, but can you blame them? What can you do? It's hard times for everyone. And I've also noticed more venues now, they've got these um charging points that you've got to pay for. So yeah, Cinderella, 38.25p, big deal. Exactly. I'm also noticing, small businesses like cafes now, you can't charge your laptop or plug in your laptop. Yeah, DT, how much money was wasted on the jubbly? There was no need for all of that. Becky, yeah, I guess you can I guess you have to move to live at the office. I'm honestly considering just like going back to Lisbon for a few months in the winter. It would actually be cheaper for me to just go and live there in the winter than have to pay the gas bill here. That's literally how crazy it is. Veronica, I heard that the fuel prices will be up 80% in London. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't drive, um, but based on gas bills, wouldn't surprise me. Nobody, love your chat. What a great week of sausage news. Indeed. You know what? In between all the drama, it has actually been a fantastic week. It's been a week of amazing wins, both for both Harry and Meghan. Harry with his Africa Parks project, and now Meghan with her podcast. So they're both doing great things, and that's the type of relationship you want: teamwork. Now, Patricia, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. If I was in the UK, where exactly should I shower and blow dry my hair and cook my food? Maybe you can go to one of the palaces. Exactly. Let's go shower and charge our phones at Buckingham Palace. You know, I remember saying to my dad, in the summertime, we should build an outdoor cooker grill, like just made of bricks. You can actually build one. It's just made of like bricks and cement in your garden. They're actually amazing. Like look them up on YouTube. But now he's like, oh, I wish I had listened because it's just like now you're watching every single thing that you do, how much you cook, the utilities that you use. Pamela won't be reading that newspaper for sure. Not with sausage fingers editing it. No way. Yeah, unfortunately, this is going to put off a lot of people. Oh, thank you so much, Martin. Good night to you as well. Good night to everyone. I hope you have a fantastic week. Let's finish up with your comments before we go. Rochelle, water from the UK lake got human waste. Exactly. They're dumping it uh, in in the rivers and the lakes, so we can't even bath in the lakes. Yeah, Megan's the next podcast should be on Tuesday, by the way. I don't think it's tomorrow. I think it's Tuesday. And Lewis, what? Charge of £1? Can you charge on trains? Fares will increase to cover costs. Yeah, you can charge on trains and buses, but you're right. They'll increase the cost. It's mental. And how long are you even on the train? Every single day? At the most an hour? Yeah, Marina, they charge for everything. Charge for grocery bags. Uh, Denise, can you use solar power or small windmills or wind leaves? Yeah, but you gotta buy the solar panels. Solar panels are so expensive. And then you gotta plug the solar panels into a generator and then plug whatever it is you're using into that. All right, who's gonna get the last word of the day? Thank you, everyone. I hope you had a great weekend and that you have a great week. And thank you always for your support. Can't believe how far we've come and imagine where we're going to be this time next year. And Lewis, 80% increase, correct. What you get for selling off your infrastructures to private foreign companies, yes. So what the hell was Brexit for anyway? Because uh, you just gone and sold everything, um, yeah, to foreign private companies anyway. And the whole point of it was meant to be you're taking control of your borders, taking control of business, giving control and power back to the people, and that just hasn't happened. Veronica, I don't own a hair salon. Most people don't ask; they just plug it in without asking. Well, that's a bit rude. I do always ask. I do always ask, but I've just noticed more recently, like people are less likely to let me charge or will charge me for charging, whereas that never used to happen before. Buddha being, I'm a prepper. So am I. One thing I've noticed is that there are very few people of color within that community. No, Buddha being there, sorry, Buddha being there are absolutely people of color in the prepping community. I'm assuming that you probably kind of like watch the prepper side of YouTube. But if you look enough, you will find a lot of black preppers. I think more so in the US because I think prepping is just more of a thing there. But they're there. We're here. I'm here. I'm a prepper. I actually have a prepping channel. I uploaded like 2 videos. But if you go to my what tab is it? My channels tab, prepping with Anne, the channel is. So whenever I get the time, I will update that channel. But yeah, if you go to prepping with Anne, we're there. I promise you, we're there. We're just not as uh as as prominent, I guess. But there's like, I'm sure you watch a Canadian prepper. He's black or biracial, right? So we're scattered around. Marina, and sometimes in the charts. Sorry, someone in the chat wants to join the conversation. Oh, okay. Oh, it's Buddha Bing. Oh, so if you're finding that you can't join the chat, right? It's because I've put like a time limit, so you have to be a subscriber for a certain amount of time. So it's not because I'm stopping you. It's just because you have to have been subscribed for a certain amount of time. My sister actually went to 10 Downing Street. It was like a uh what do you call it? Like a day out for like young people that one of her mentors did. And they went to 10 Downing Street and there were people actually protesting there. It wasn't a huge group, which is why it didn't make the news. But people were protesting about this because it's really getting out of hand. All right. Palena, I'm going to give you the last word of the day. Stay safe and be blessed, everyone. Have a wonderful week, y'all, and I will see you. Um, well, if anything happens tomorrow, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, but more likely I will see you on Tuesday to review the Tuesday episode of Archetypes with Mariah Carey. Ciao.